Welcome to INSZN's College Football Show. This is our Week 11 preview. We have 6 games that we have highlighted. We're going to go through, look at, starting with the biggest game of the weekend, College Game Day, BYU versus Texas Tech. I'm Braxton Wilkes. I'm joined here with co-founder Christian Berry, and let's just get right into it. So BYU, Texas Tech, number 8 and number 9 respectively in the AP poll, number 3 and number 5 in our adjusted quadrant resume ranking poll, which basically just looks at the resumes of each team, takes out all subjective biases, media bias, media narrative, preseason polls, anything like that. So a big top 5 AQR matchup happening in Lubbock. Like I said, College Game Day is going to be there. The spread on this game right now is actually 10.5 in favor of Tech, and the over-under is 52.5. Kind of just early thoughts that you have going on anything? Do you want to just go right to in-season and pull up so we can talk about it all?
Yeah. Let's jump into it. I mean, my initial thoughts. You said 10.5 Texas Tech.
10.5 in favor of Tech. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm honestly a little shocked by that. I think BYU is a much better team than they've gotten credit for all season. I mean, they have a strength of record of 5. They're an okay offense in terms of the 33 and SP plus offensive ranking, which, I mean, take that as you will. Tech is better at both offense and defensive metric rankings, but BYU runs the ball with high efficiency. Texas Tech has stopped the run game with high efficiency. So I think that's going to be kind of the storyline we look at. I know that, Bear and Behren Morton have kind of led their offenses to solid records in a pretty, I'd say a pretty equivalent Big 12 season this year. And they've, been able to take strides and win most of their games, not all their games, in Texas Tech's perspective in the Big 12. I think the answer here is going to be who's able to run the ball effectively. If we look on a week-by-week basis, BYU gets about 220 yards on the ground and about 220 yards through the air. And I think that's going to be kind of the storyline, is if Texas Tech is able to pull the run game away, forcing BYU to go through the air, relying on Bear to kind of have to make all of his plays. And I'm going to go ahead and just go to Bear's profile so we can
pull that up. Because that's I think you're right. The quarterback story for both is going to be the story of this game. Bear, doesn't light up any stat sheets, but man, he's fun to watch. He plays hard, and he leads that team even as a true freshman. So a great find for them, pulling him out of Stanford in the offseason and bringing him here, starting at BYU as a true freshman, leading them to I think one of their best starts ever. And this is actually their first, this is the BYU's first top 10 matchup that they're a part of. So really? This is going to be phenomenal. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. And I when I look at Bear's stats, and let me, so you can see all the headline grades down there. When I look at Bear, he doesn't have to pass the ball for, 300 plus yards to win a game. He's only done that twice this season against West Virginia, and then most recently last week against Iowa State. What he does, though, which I want to point out, is he's highly accurate when he throws the ball. He's not making a ton of turnover-worthy plays. He's putting the ball to the second and third option effectively, but he's not doing a lot of, these, forcing the ball down the field, forcing the ball into these different defensive schema. So I think if I look at this game and I say, hey, let's force BYU to remain undefeated, what is Texas Tech going to have to do? If you take away the run game, which Texas Tech has been pretty effective at this year, forcing Bear to make decisions, and if they can get him a little off kilter from what he's done this season, I think that it's going to be a closer matchup than not. But I have BYU having a little bit of upset territory here just because of their quality of their record this year, how they've been able to score against multiple different types of defensive schema, and just a highly accurate, highly consistent quarterback in Bear.
Yeah, no, I agree. Their strength of record, obviously they're 8-0, but that Utah win looks better and better. And both Tech and BYU have a win against Utah. Sure. I think Utah is probably the third best team in the Big 12. Yeah. There's probably a gap between teams 3 and 4. And it's just unfortunate for Utah that they had to play both these teams that are really solid. The other kind of thing I wanted to highlight in this game, Behren Morton obviously has been hurt. He's back now, played in that game against Kansas State. I'm looking for him to kind of get back to that form that he had early on. Obviously, Tech can put up points, and when they kind of get on a roll, they put up points very fast. So if I'm Tech, I'm looking to kind of score early and often and get that offense rolling, get Behren Morton into a kind of rhythm and let him get in the zone, and then just let the offense do their thing. The other thing that Tech does really well is they force a lot of fumbles. And I know that's something on the broadcast this past weekend, the Texas Tech Kansas State game, they were talking, I think they had 4 or 5 forced fumbles. A few of them were called back. I don't know what a catch is anymore. I don't know what a football move is anymore. There's so many questions, but a few of them were called back. A few of them they let stand. But 4 or 5 times the ball was on the turf because Tech was ripping the ball out right at
they forced 10 fumbles this season. 10 interceptions, 10 fumbles. That's pretty good in terms of defensive impacting the game if the offense is not there, which I think is why they've been able to win games without Behren Morton, because their defense is able to actually produce a lot of those turnovers and flip the scripts and flip the definitions of the game itself.
Yeah, exactly. No, they take the ball away at a really high rate, and then when their offense is really humming, they score really fast too at a high rate. So This will be a fun game. I think it'll be closer than 10.5. I think this will be a game that everyone, the whole country's watching, and it'll be a fun one to showcase kind of Big 12 football. So I'm excited for that.